Hello and welcome to another episode of the Reading Roundup. My name is Kylie and I'm going to be covering the 8 books and 2 DNFs that I had in the month of July. Starting off strong and iconic, I read Animal Farm by George Orwell. It is a tale of a farm run by animals. They run out to their farmer and take over it themselves, and the pigs are gonna set everything up for them, and eventually it devolves into the pigs are no better, if not a little worse, than the humans. And it's clearly a communism allegory, which did get old. The whole communism bad thing, just a little blatant, a little on the nose. And the thing that occurred to me when I was done is it just kind of felt like when you have a friend or a coworker that becomes a manager, and then suddenly they forget that they were once a peon too, and they just kind of forget that they're not the muckety muck they think they are, that they always were. But it was fine. I don't really get the hype, but maybe I'm just not smart enough. So 4 stars. Next up was Breathe In, Bleed Out by Brian McAuley. And this follows a group of friends that go on like a wellness retreat, and shenanigans ensues. People start getting picked off. This was suggested by a friend of mine who was like, oh my god, you're gonna love it. I almost DNF'd it about 10 chapters in, or within the first 10 chapters, but I was driving, so I was listening to it. I was like, it's fine, I'll just let it go. I don't think it was worth it to finish it. The killings were great. The killings were really interesting, really unique, and then the reveals were dumb. I'm so sorry. And I did tell her, like, I'm sorry. It was just silly for me. It was just too much. So 2 stars. Next up was Root Rot by Saskia Nislo. That's not okay. It's an L. And this one follows a family, like a pretty extended family that are all staying on, I do believe, like the patriarch's property. And things just start getting weird. I kind of tuned it out after a while. It's really short. I just grabbed a bunch of horror shorts for some reason. I was just in that kind of mood. It was fine. It was like some parts really made my skin crawl and gave me the heebie-jeebies. It's mushroom horror, which it's like I'm kind of over mushroom horror. I've yet to really get something done right. But I gave it a 3 out of 5. I had a good time with the squick, but I was mainly just confused. I wasn't really sure who our narrator was, and then after a while I'm like, oh, are they all the narrator? And it was fine. So 3 stars. Next up was Stolen Tongues by Felix Blackwell, which is again one of the horror books that I grabbed. This follows a man and his fiance as they are being stalked by, I think it was called the Hollow Man. But basically, it's this critter that lives in the woods. It's been obsessed with her since childhood. The prologue was so good. It was so creepy. I listened to it during the day and it still gave me the willies. Up to part 4 was great. There was really good tension, and then part 4 just shot it squarely in the face. It was so silly. And just the reveal of who or what the Hollow Man is was just kind of like, okay, all right. And then at the very end of the book, there's like, it's not an epilogue, it's just a little blurb by the author where he's talking about respecting Native American voices. Except, spoiler alert, 2 out of the 3 Native Americans in this book, all of which who are used for just plot devices basically, 2 out of 3 die because of helping these white people. And that just felt really weird, to make a point to say that you wanted to respect Native American voices and their culture and everything, and then you kill them for no good reason, really. So 3 stars. Next up was Play Nice by Rachel Harrison. This, again, horror book that I grabbed. It follows a young woman whose mother dies, and then find out that there was once haunted, probably still is haunted house, is still within the family, and she decides she's going to reno it and deal with her demons, and literally and metaphorically. And I hated this book. I gave it a 2. It should have been a 1. The main character, Cleo, is a 25-year-old toddler. She's an idiot. She's obnoxious. There's no growth whatsoever. I don't really like sibling books where the conflict is the main part, because siblings sound exhausting as an only child. They sound awful. I've never seen any media or had any interactions with siblings where I'm like, oh, I wish I had this. They seem terrible. It seems at best decent, at worst god-awful. And it was a lot of sibling bullshit. She's the youngest of 3. She acts like your very classic youngest child. It was so annoying. And there was no action. There'd be like spooky parts that really weren't that spooky. And then the end, when you finally meet the demon. Spoiler alert, she like gives it a chain she had been wearing the entire book, and that's it. It was like in the attic the whole time. That was it. She gave it her little snake pendant. And we're right as rain. So, it should have been a 1, but it was a 2. I don't know why I didn't give it a 1. I maybe just at the time didn't offend me as much, but the more I sit with it, the more like it's a 1 star. Next up is Whale Fall by Daniel Kraus. I loved this book. This follows a young man who is going to try and find his father's remains after he has committed suicide following a cancer diagnosis and failing treatment. And he gets swallowed by a whale. He gets swallowed by a sperm whale. And apparently it was touted as being like really scientifically accurate. I didn't really care about that. I was just interested, like, I kept seeing stuff about the movie. I haven't seen the trailer or anything. My husband and I want to go see this. But I just thought it sounded interesting. I heard it was very, like, claustrophobic and all this, that, and the other. So something I noticed in reviews that didn't like it was that it's not about the whale. It's, you take so long to get to the whale, and it's not that. It was totally as being scientific. And it's like, well, it's a metaphor. His dad's the whale. Like, that's the metaphor. It seems pretty obvious to me. I devoured, pun intended, this book in 2 sittings. I stayed up past midnight to finish it, kind of thing, because it was just like, I need to know what happens. I really enjoyed it. It was deeply emotional. It was so sweet. It got really weird, but I did really, really, really enjoy it. So it was a 5 star for me. That was my only 5 up to this point. I think it's my only 5. It's my only 5 for the month. Next up is another horror short story. So Shadow Half Remains by Sunny. I don't know if I wrote Moraine or Marino. It is about a woman who is dealing with this like semi-post-apocalyptic world. Very COVID-y kind of vibe. But basically, if you make eye contact with other humans, it can send you into a homicidal or suicidal or both rage. And she kind of lives out in the sticks by herself, and then she gets a new neighbor. And there's sort of like this will they, won't they of it all. And then nothing really happens. Like, it kind of goes bonkers at the end, but I don't know, it just felt like a nothing burger of a book. I gave it a 4 star. It really should have been a 3, if I'm being honest with myself. I don't know why I gave it as high of a rating as I did. It was pretty middling. Like, I did like some parts of it. Excuse me. But largely it was just middling. And this is my second time experiencing this. I don't think it's necessary for authors to read their own media. I think that there is a flatness to the way that they read their own media because they are not professional narrators. So there's not a ton of voice changes or tone. It's just kind of flat. And with this particular person, they were just especially flat. Like, it made me enjoy the story a little bit less. So should have been a 3, but I gave it 4. This one is probably my most disappointing read. I have been waiting for Japanese Gothic by Kylie Lee Baker for, I think it was 8 months. I found this not long after reading the first War Art series book, because I was looking at Natalie Nadas, who's my favorite narrator. She did Bat Eater and Other Names for Korzang, which is one of my favorite books, if not my favorite book last year. No, The Devils was my favorite book. So one of my favorite books last year. It was amazing. It was also by the same author. And I was like, oh, it's my girl Natalie. It's my girl Kylie. I'm also a Kylie. Gotta represent. Y'all, it was so boring. My library hold ran out on it, but I just did not want to pick it back up. It is about a young man who is having some problems at school, and he goes to visit his dad in Japan. I do believe he lives in the US. I want to say he's in New Jersey. And he goes to visit his dad in Japan, and they're in this house. And so it kind of like layers realities. So he's experienced a ghost, which is this young woman in like samurai times. I don't know what time period that would be. And so she's experiencing him as a ghost. So they're kind of each other's ghost. I got like 30% into this, and then my library hold ran out, but I just was not picking it back up. I was so bored. Like nothing was really happening. I didn't really care. Like this dude, spoiler alert, there's so many spoilers in this. But this dude, like, apparently murdered his roommate. And I was just like, okay, and? Like, there's no, it was just like, oh, well, I must have, I remember doing it, but I don't know where the body is, which makes me think that he never actually did it, and he's, like, going crazy or something. I really don't know. And at this point, I don't care. Even my girl Natalie couldn't make this book interesting. And I'm so disappointed because Bat Eater was so good. So I'll give her another try. I'll see if she has other media. I didn't like Mexican Gothic either, so maybe blank Gothic just isn't for me. So DNF. Next up was It's Not Hysteria by Karen Tang. This is a very comprehensive look at kind of female troubles. So this goes through PCOS, endometriosis, miscarriages, abortion, tubal ligation, hysterectomy, like various cancers, like vulva issues, urinary incontinence issues, pelvic floor dysfunction. Like, it's a very comprehensive book on lady troubles. And I was kind of hoping, and this is my own expectation issue, I was hoping that this would be a look at like the cultural implications of those concepts rather than this is what this is, here are your options to deal with it, here's the outcomes, on to the next one. Here's what this is, here's your options to deal with it, here are the outcomes, here's the next one. Just bop, 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 bop. I was really expecting it to be like, this is how the wandering womb concept affected women in this time period. This is how, the invention of the chainsaw and how that's like super messed up, and the invention of the vibrator and where that came from. The beginning chapter is kind of that, but I was expecting the whole thing, not like, here's what the anatomy of a clitoris looks like, and these are what the various folds on the outside of the female genitalia are. And it was just kind of like, oh, well, I already know a lot of this. So it was great, like sex ed concepts and things like that. I read this for like a choose your own adventure nonfiction that we did for book club. So everybody did whatever book they wanted. It just had to be nonfiction. When I was describing this, one of my friends said, oh, this would be great for teenagers. And I agree. It absolutely would be great for teenagers. But for me, somebody who is a doula, who has had a baby, who is also, I have PCOS. So I have done a ton of research. I am having a hysterectomy later this month, actually. Like, I know a lot of this stuff. So it was just, I think I had too much information going into it. So I found myself skimming because it was just like, okay, I already know this. Okay, I already know this. Okay, I already know this. But I still gave it 4 stars. It wasn't perfect. It was a little dry, but I did enjoy what I read of it. So 4 stars. All right, and the last one a DNF was Madonna in a Fur Coat by, I'm so sorry, this man is Turkish, so Sabahattin Ali? I'm sorry. I should have looked up how to say that. This is about a young man who becomes just wildly infatuated with a young woman that he sees her self-portrait in an art gallery and just becomes wildly infatuated with her. And they're kind of infatuated with each other. It is only 6 hours long. I DNF'd it with about an hour and a half in after running it on 2.5 speed. Editing Kylie here. I'm editing it right after filming it. That's why I'm wearing the same clothes. I meant with an hour and a half left. I did get most of the way through this book. Or 2 times speed, excuse me. I don't care. I find Maria, the young woman, to be insufferable. I think I kept going through. I was like, this is like almost manic pixie dream girlish. And then she'd be like, I'm not in love with you. It's like, ma'am, it's been 3 hours since you met this person. What are you talking about? And she would just go on, but then she kisses him later. And she's like, we can be friends, but don't love me like that. Don't ask anything of me, but let me snuggle up to you. And then he would also be like, oh, no, I don't want anything from him, but I'm obsessed with you. And it's like, holy mixed signals, Batman. I didn't like either of them. I found it incredibly annoying. And maybe it's a translation thing. Maybe it's a cultural thing. Maybe it's the time period that it was written in. But I did not want to continue this. I really did try so I could kind of add it to my track record for the year. I don't even remember why I picked this book up. I think I saw it mentioned somewhere on something. And it's not for me. So I DNF'd it and I don't feel bad about it. So for the month, I have a 3.375 because I only had 1 5-star. This is not a great month, but it's fine. And then for the year, I think I'm holding right at 3.31. I think that's about where I've been the entire time, which I'm fine with. Excited. I've got some good stuff on the docket. As you can see, I don't actually know if you can see it, but there's a pile of fabric over there. I've got a lot of sewing ideas coming up. I started a sewing project yesterday or 2 days ago. I have the dress completed. I need help with it. My husband's not home. So when he gets home in about 2 weeks or about a week and a half, I'll have him help me so that I can get that posted. In the meantime, I'm going to record something else and make some other stuff. So August is going to be a weird time for me. Like I said earlier in the video, I am hopefully having a hysterectomy later this month. And we'll see how that goes. So maybe I'll read even more because I'll be horizontal parenting for a while because I ain't gonna do nothing. I can't even pick up my kid because he's over 15 pounds. So, whatever. But like, comment, subscribe if you want to watch me bumble my way through things and kind of keep the darkness away. So, bye!